Hello, hello everybody, and welcome to The Code. This is your faithful friend Sandra Graves, and I don't want you to forget that we are here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time with coaches and speakers and authors. I try to bring different people, different experts to help you achieve your goals. So if you like any of these experts that I present to you, please don't forget to reach out to them. The information is always going to be found at the bottom of the video. You can actually see the image with their websites, with their Facebook, with, something that somewhere that you can reach out to them. Today we are having a very good topic, a different topic, and that is going to be managing through changes. And we're talking about managing and changes, and some people think one thing don't go with the other. Well, yeah, if you're going to be successful at anything, that is a very good skill to have. So we are going to be talking to Lisa Sansom, and she is in Colorado right now. And I don't envy the weather over there. I was just telling her about that. No envy on that weather. But she is a trainer, a consultant, a coach, and she's going to tell us more about who Lisa is. And so Lisa, tell us, who is Lisa? What does she do? What makes life exciting for Lisa?
Who is Lisa and what does she do? So as you said, thank you very much. I am a coach, I am a consultant, I am a trainer, and I work in the field of organizational development and leadership development. And that's why the topic of how we get through change is so important, because the rate of change is accelerating. We deal with change every day in our personal lives and in our professional lives. And if we don't know how to manage ourselves and others through change, we're going to have a really hard time.
Wow, you just gave a mouthful of amazing stuff. So there's so much stuff. Well, I don't even know where to start, but this is your talk. So tell us, where do we begin with this conversation?
Where do we begin? Well, the first thing is that we change in ways that are predictable and sequential. So we know that people are going to go through something called the change cycle when they are responding to changes. Now, what we don't know is how long that's going to take, and we don't know how intense it's going to be, but it's important to recognize that this is completely normal for people to go through different stages as they are dealing with change.
Well, that was pretty interesting. So the change cycle, I'm a designer, and we talk about the design cycle. So what is the change cycle?
The change cycle is a series of 6 different stages that people go through. And so if you think about, do you watch game shows at all? Like The Price is Right and
Yes.
stuff like that?
Yes, I don't watch them, but I have heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, so when you watch them and they call you down because you've just won a brand new car or you've just won $1 million or whatever it is, you see the person online and their face goes completely blank. They kind of go,
yeah,
and they're stuck, they're stunned. And this is the first stage of change. And we call that the stage of loss. It's a very shocked stage. It's a very stunned stage. It's usually very short, but that is the first stage. And that's because our brain is processing. Something has happened differently here. We have a little part of our brain that's called the amygdala, and it's right up in the back of your brain. And there are 2 little small almond-shaped parts of your brain, and their job is to look in the landscape for any changes that are happening. And when they find a change, your brain's going to determine, is this a threat or is this not a threat? Am I safe or am I not safe? And so you freeze while your brain is processing that. So that's the first stage of change. So when you see people go shocked, when you tell them that something has changed, it's completely normal. Our brains are designed to do that. You have to give people time to process that change.
I was going to just say that, was to make sure that you give them time, because I know, when you actually, someone tell you something and that you wasn't ready for it, immediately it's like, you don't have words, right? So
Exactly.
What you are saying definitely makes sense. So what is that? What is the next thing that we need to know about managing through changes?
The next thing you need to know is once you've given people that time, is that they're going to have a lot of questions, because the second stage is a stage of resistance, and it's a stage of doubt, and it's a stage of skepticism. And so again, when people start pushing back, when you feel, oh, you're not on my side, you're asking a bunch of questions, you're coming up with all the reasons why this is bad, that's another normal stage of change. People want to make sure that this is a safe change for them, that they understand it, that they feel good about it. And so they're going to ask a lot of questions. And it can feel really nasty because they might be resistant and they might be skeptical. But again, this is a normal stage of change. So we want to be ready to answer those questions. We want to be ready to assure them and to show them that this is safe, this change is okay, and that they're going to be just fine going through it, even if it feels really uncomfortable right now.
So that is that is the reason why most people say, I hate changes. Because that stage number 2 is the part that everyone hates. It's feel like you are not in control. The person that is telling you whatever change that is happening is the one that is in control at that moment. Sometimes it feels that way. And then at that moment, that's when it's just like, you know, you don't know what to do. Is that correct?
Exactly. And so we're asking all these questions. Now, if I'm the person going through change, I also have a responsibility here. I have a responsibility to get accurate information, even if that information contradicts my opinions or what I believe. Because it's really easy, you know, at the office, you hear this rumor and you say, oh, I heard that, you know, we're all going to have to wear uniforms, or I heard that they're laying off half of the staff, or I heard that the company is closing in 30 days. You know, people make things up.
Yes.
And so we believe that. And I'm going to let you in on a secret about people. And that is, people love to be right.
Yes, I know, I'm one of them.
And so when we hear that rumor, we think that's the way things are, and so we want to be right, and then it's really hard for us to go and ask questions and get valid information from reliable sources so that we can actually find out what's really going on. We would much rather talk to our friends at the water cooler who are like, oh yeah, it's really bad, it's really horrible, instead of going to our boss or going to a website or actually reading those newsletters that your organization sends out. Like, that's where the factual information is. So when I'm going through change, I have a responsibility to go and get accurate information so that I can paint a full picture of what is going on, both my opinions and feelings. I still want to hold on to that, but also the facts that I'm being told.
I like that you said that, because usually whenever change shows up, the first thing that people do is just assume, and you get yourself so scared after what it is, and most of the time it's not anything that you actually was scared about. It's just the fact of what you said. Just go and find out, go do your research, go ask questions, go to the source exactly. And that is the hardest part that I know. Like, I mean, and mostly if you are not humble, like really, it's very hard to go and ask questions, because it's just like, oh, I have to humiliate myself to ask them what. But I don't think it's humiliation. It's just simply you just want to find out for yourself. So I love the way you explain that. So tell us more. I mean, I'm really learning a lot from you. So bring it on.
Well, and then what happens after that? Stage 3 is this stage that we call discomfort. And so once you get all your questions answered, you're still processing this. You're still thinking about it. You don't know yet if this is really good or bad for you, but it's feeling uncomfortable because it's change. And it's really important that organizations give people time to process this information, to try it on for size, to think about it, to experiment with it, to try something, to fail, to find their own way of doing it. Like, we are human beings. We are creatures of nature. We change at the pace of nature. You know, you don't make a tree bloom any faster. You don't make a garden grow any faster. You know what happens if you try to put a whole bunch of fertilizer onto your vegetable garden is you destroy your vegetable garden. And so if people try to make us change too quickly, we're going to burn out. We're going to get that fertilizer burn. So organizations need to give us time in that, especially in that stage 3. It's okay to feel uncomfortable with it. That's a very normal way of adapting to change. We got to try it on. We got to play with it. We got to see what's working. We got to watch other people playing with it. We got to talk about it. We need to take some time to see if this change is going to work for us or not.
That is, I love the way you present this, and I'm going to take the time to be able to tell the people that are watching, if you a business or you're a company, or if you somebody that need to work with your employees on change or yourself on change, Lisa is available. Her information is right there at the bottom of this screen. It's www.lvsconsulting.com for you to learn more. I mean, I'm listening to her a little bit, and let me explain to you something. She did not give me any clues of the things that she was going to talk about at the beginning of this conversation, because I do not ask questions when we start. I want to learn with you. So what she's sharing right now, it is really good. So if you want your employees, if you want to learn more about this, get in touch with her, because she sounds like she knows what she's talking about. Okay, so continue, Lisa. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you so much. Well, and quite often for a lot of people, discomfort, stage 3, is the bottom. It's when they're feeling the most difficulty with the change, because after this, the change cycle starts to come up. We get energized. We start to find solutions. And stage 4 is called discovery. We discover how great the change can be, and we discover things for us.
So what we're going to do, so that you can tell us more about stage 4, and so that you can wait for us, we will be right back. EnvivoLive every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget, we're bringing you coaches, speakers, classes, and much more. We are here to help you grow. Don't forget, we are here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Welcome, 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 welcome back to The Code. And today we are speaking with Lisa Sansom, and we are talking about managing through changes. And everything that she had been talking about have been extremely interesting. And she was going to talk to us about stage 4. But before she does that, I want to remind you that if you are a coach, a speaker, an author, if you think you are good at something that you know well and you want to share it with others, please get in touch with us at info@envivoassociate.com. Again, info@envivoassociate.com. I want to hear from you. I want to learn from you, because, you know, although I don't like to be wrong, I do like to learn. So let's do more of that, learning from Lisa Sansom. And if you want to visit her website, like I said, it is right here at the bottom of the screen. You can visit Lisa. So Lisa, is your birthday happy? It's not her birthday, but I just love that song. Every time I meet someone that her name is Lisa, I sing something about Lisa. Okay, anyway, so no, it's not Lisa's birthday. So go ahead, Lisa.
Thank you so much. So discovery, and I thought it was really great because we ended on like this upswing. So discovery is when you start finding solutions, when you start making the change work for you, when you start feeling like, oh, this might not be so bad after all, and you get excited and you get energized and you're hopeful. You start to see that, oh, this could work for me, and you figure out how you're going to make it work for you. So we're starting to get into a really good place with the change. And then after that, You understand the change. So before, when we were feeling maybe threatened or concerned and our amygdala was activating and saying, am I safe or am I not safe? We start moving into the prefrontal cortex part of our brain, which is the mature part of our brain where we think about things strategically, logically. We can see the big picture. We can predict into the future. And once we start to understand the change, we're now working from our prefrontal cortex. So we're calmer with it. We're more rational. We're more logic. We understand the benefits of the change and why we want to do this.
And I am glad that you explained that, because I know if you are listening, I know change is uncomfortable and everything that Lisa described, and most of us hate change. But let me tell you, I have learned to love change. Like anytime there's not change happening in my life, I'm like, maybe I'm not growing. Maybe I'm not moving forward. Before I was like, I hate change. Now it's like, why am I in the same place? Why there's no change, right? So now I actually look forward to the change, because to me, change means growth. I don't want to be the same person I was last year. I don't want to be the same person I was 5 years ago, because that means I have not grown. So change is good. When it comes, try to find out, how can I learn from this? What it is in for me? What? Just keep asking questions. Just like Lisa is saying, really, you got to inform yourself. And that's what I learned about change. So that's the reason why now I love change. So tell us more, Lisa.
And I am so glad that you mentioned that, because that learning happens at the edge of your comfort zone. We need to go through this change cycle, and eventually the final stage is integrating. Just like you said, I am the change. There is no change anymore, because this is the new me. This is the new way of doing things. This is the new culture. This is the new reality. And I have integrated that into my life. And the more we go through this cycle, the more change resilient we become, the more understanding we become of change, and the more we can help other people go through change as well. So you're a really good example of that. Someone who has learned how to embrace change and bring it on and see the benefits in change, because you've been through this cycle so many times. You know there's nothing to be scared of. Change can be a really positive experience.
And you know, talking about change, if you're a parent, don't you get it from the kids? Your kids say, you are not the way you used to be. You have changed. Well, make sure that whenever they say you have changed, you are happy with the new change that they are talking about. If they are talking about you have changed for the negative, then that's a problem. But if they are talking about, like my son, he was like, Mom, you used to be more strict before. Well, because I learned that I don't need to be that strict. I learned to talk more. I learned to communicate more. Instead of extreme spanking, no, extreme talking. So change is good. You have to, as a parent, you have to see, okay, what have I done 5 years ago? What did I do last year that I can do better now? And it's constant, even at work. You know, people, if they say, oh, she have always been like that. She's just like this. She does the same thing every day. Every Monday she does this. Come on, that is like so boring. Implement some change in your life. Is that correct, Lisa?
Absolutely. And because you mentioned that, I want to tell you one other really important thing about when you are trying to help somebody else make changes.
Yes.
Because when we think about a change, you mentioned parents and kids. I work with a lot of leaders. I do a lot of leadership coaching, and a lot of them have kids. We almost always end up talking about their kids.
Yes.
And they say, you know, I told my kids that, you know, they need to do something different, and they were just, you know, horrible, and they were resistant. I say, well, this is because they were going through the change cycle, right?
Exactly.
So when you announce a change to somebody else, quite often we're in that prefrontal logical part of our brain. We've already thought about it. We've already made our peace with it. We've analyzed it. We're in stage 5, maybe in stage 6. We already know about this change. And then we announce it to someone else, and it seems so logical to us that we think it should be logical to the other person, but they're responding from their amygdala. They're assessing, am I safe or am I not safe? They're going into a state of shock and resistance. And so we need to change how we announce change to other people so that it's more emotionally savvy. We set the stage for them to feel safe and secure. We build that relationship, and we have to give them time to deal with the change and to adapt to what we're hearing. That's managers, that's parents, that's anybody who's announcing a change to anybody else.
Yeah, and that is a hard time that most people have, especially parents. When we say, do this, we want it done immediately.
Yeah.
But you, just like Lisa said, you have to give them time to process that information. And it's very hard, I'm going to tell you, as a parent, when I go like, you got to do this, you didn't do this. And sometimes we just have to keep repeating ourselves because at that moment, we just wanted immediate results and then it didn't happen. So you got to actually make sure that they get clarity about what you're talking about. And this is not a parenting class that I'm giving you here, but it works with your employees too. I know when I have employees, the same thing. I have to make sure that they understand what I'm telling them and give them time to be able to think about it. I didn't think about it as the stages like Lisa presented, but it makes sense. It totally makes sense. I love Lisa. I love Lisa. I love Lisa.
Thank you so much. Oh, this has been wonderful talking about the change cycle. The one thing I will say, you mentioned parenting and managers. When you are in a position of power or authority, you have to work that much harder to make it safe for the other person. Because I know with my kids, for example, I might say, oh, you didn't clean up your room. And all of a sudden they kind of go like, am I in trouble?
Yes.
Is there a problem here? And it makes it harder for them to process the change. It's like when you get an email from your manager that says, come into my office, I need to talk to you. You freeze, right? Am I in trouble? Is this safe?
Hate it. I hate that part. So keep that in us. So how can they handle? Because I know, just like we mentioned that conversation, I know some managers want to treat their employees like they are parents, and that does not work well. So even though we're not talking about that change have to happen. So with the change that you implement at home is not the same one that you implement at the job, at the office. So I hate when managers think that they are going to talk to me like they are my parents. Ooh, no, you're going to meet Sandra Graves, the other side of her, the evil one.
When you're adults talking to adults, let's have adult conversations. You know, even if there's an authority difference, change works better when it's collaborative. So the more that you can share, the more that you can involve the other person, the more that you can give them autonomy and decisions in how to do it. Sometimes the what is not negotiable, but there's differences in the how. The more you can let people make those decisions, it's going to work for them, the better they're going to be at adapting to change and getting through that change cycle.
Wow. I mean, doesn't she sound like she really know what she's talking about? I mean, like listen to Lisa. This is like really awesome. I love talking to Lisa. I don't think this is going to be the last time that I talk to Lisa. I really like talking to Lisa. She, other than manager, she have this flow. The way she teaches is very, it's nice. You want to listen to her. So if you want to listen to her and share this wisdom that this woman have with the people at your office, with your employees, or for yourself, don't forget to get in touch with Lisa at the bottom of the screen, www.lvsconsulting.com. Just make sure that you visit Lisa there. And Lisa, so that we can finish up, I mean, I know everything that you have shared has been words of wisdom, okay? But tell us, let's summarize this of what you talk about and how they can start working these changes right now, managing through changes, how they can start doing that right now.
Yeah, I'm going to give you 2 big tips. Number 1, when you are announcing change to somebody else, if you want to make them feel safer, tell them what is not going to change, because that helps to make them feel safer and it makes the change feel smaller and more manageable. So communicate what does not change, even when you're communicating things that do change. So that's an important point for managers and parents and everybody to take away. The other thing, if your viewers remember nothing else, here's the big 3 words. It's all normal. Whatever somebody's response is to change, let them have their response. It's a normal response. It makes sense for them at that time. Give them time. We're all mature adults. We can get through change. Some of us are going to need more time and help than others, but we can all do it. So just give people the time, and it's all normal.
Wow. A total epiphany of information. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
I am not joking. I really love this. I was into it. Like, I have always been a teacher's pet. You can be my teacher anytime. Seriously. I love the way you teach. Very easy to swallow. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, like I said, I love it. I hope that if you are listening right now and you like what you hear, please connect with Lisa. And don't forget to continue to visit us here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, whenever God allows. And Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time in Spanish. Tuesdays in Spanish, Thursdays in English, and that way we're gonna be presenting different coaches and speakers, just bringing different people to help you grow. So if you know that you're an expert in a particular area and you want to help others grow, communicate with me. I would love to talk to you. I mean, you do know that I do love to talk a lot. So anyway, I'm gonna leave this for Lisa to close this. Lisa, if you want to mention your Instagram, whatever it is that you want to mention, just mention it. And then after you finish talking, I am going to stop talking and close it.
I am on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn. I am on Twitter. My company, as you have so graciously and generously mentioned, is LVS Consulting. If you look for me there, I'm happy to connect with you on any of those platforms. And thank you so much. You have been such a wonderful, gracious host and so much fun to talk with. And I entirely encourage other coaches and speakers to reach out to you, because this has been a fabulous experience. Thank you.
Well, thank you, my Lisa.